A brand new Gerstlauer is coming to the United States in 2022, and I'm not talking about Defiance at Glenwood Caverns. This will be an infinity coaster making its debut in late 2022, and we're going to find out exactly where it's going at IAAPA next month. This information comes to us straight from Riot Entertainment in a press release. They announced that Gerstlauer will be debuting another roller coaster next year, specifically an infinity coaster. If you're unfamiliar with their infinity coaster line, essentially it's like a beefed up Eurofighter. They all have lap bars. It's an updated train design. Oftentimes, they're a lot higher capacity. Sometimes you still get the 8 riders per train, but in the past, sometimes we've seen 16 riders per train, and we won't know until IAAPA just how big this ride is going to be, so the rider capacity is still to be determined. But that doesn't change that whatever this ride is going to be, it's going to be good. Infinity coasters are awesome. And they specifically cite that there are some unique challenges with this project, and that it's going to be a one-of-a-kind ride. Ed Hiller, the CEO of Riot Entertainment, specifically says this new infinity coaster will have guests racing to it in order to be the first to ride, as it is being installed at a high-profile location. So even though they do not tell us where this is going, I think there is a lot of information that we can get out of this press release to really narrow it down. In this video, I am determined to figure out what our main contenders are. Now, in order to narrow this down, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the park. And our first big clue is that this is going to be announced at IAAPA, which will likely be at the Gerstlauer or Riot Entertainment booth. Meaning, the park itself is not the one doing this big marketing campaign and then announcing it over social media. This announcement is coming from the manufacturer. This typically only happens when it's coming from a smaller, lesser-known park. The big parks like to be the ones to do the announcements. So, I am ruling out all big chain parks. I am convinced that this is going to a smaller location. I'm convinced that wherever this ride is going, it will be the standout ride at this park. So it makes me think that it's probably going to a location that doesn't currently have a big roller coaster. Next big clue. This is opening in late 2022. That implies that this location is year-round. Because if it was only open part of the year, then typically that would mean closing towards the end of October. And if it's opening in late 2022, that just does not make sense from a business perspective. So I think this is located in the southern half of the United States. Those two factors alone, I think, are really going to help determine where this could go. So that all being said, let's go through some possibilities, and I'm first going to start with the ones that I think are lesser likely, but I'm not going to completely rule out. And these are primarily small parks in the LA area. Pacific Park is the boardwalk park in Santa Monica. While this is certainly a high-profile location, they just don't have the land for this attraction. It's a small boardwalk. I don't think they'd be able to fit this in. There's also Speed Zone in LA, or Castle Park in Riverside. While I think these are good fits, the other thing you have to think about is that Hang Time is a Gerstlauer Infinity also located in that LA area. I don't think that those parks would go with something that similar to another one of those attractions. But that doesn't mean it couldn't go to a beachside park, maybe in a different location. What about the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk or Belmont Park? And I think that both of these get enough attendance that you could make a strong argument for, yeah, I think an infinity could work well here. Belmont Park is kind of small. I'm not sure where they would be able to fit it in at that location. But that being said, it would be a good fit here. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is kind of in a similar situation. They're very landlocked, and they are open for most of the year, so opening up a roller coaster there in the fall could probably work. Plus, that place can get slammed, so I could see why they would choose to go with an infinity coaster instead of a Eurofighter. But again, I think it comes down to land usage. One boardwalk park, though, that might not have the same issue is Kemah Boardwalk outside of Houston. And they only have one roller coaster, and that is Boardwalk Bullet. So adding in a steel coaster that goes upside down could work very well here, and Kemah Boardwalk has the land. Gravity Group managed to fit in Boardwalk Bullet in 1 acre of land, and if Gerstlauer had some similar constraints, I think they could probably make it fit. And that certainly would be a great attraction to that area. But again, my only concern with this one is the same with some of those smaller parks in the LA area. You do have Iron Shark down the road, which is at Galveston Pleasure Pier. That's another Gerstlauer with a vertical lift hill beyond vertical drop that most infinity coasters have. So my worry would be that it's too similar to Iron Shark to go here. Now, how about a more outlandish idea, but, still something that could be kind of cool? This press release never specifically says that it's going to a park, so it could go to a location that doesn't even have a roller coaster. It could go to a zoo. There's a couple zoos across America that have roller coasters. There's a zoo in Indianapolis that has one, same with Arizona. The Columbus Zoo has roller coasters, although they just got a new roller coaster, so it probably wouldn't go there. I do wonder if a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster would be a little extreme there. I feel like if a zoo did choose to go with a Gerstlauer, I don't think that they would go with an Infinity model. But hey, I've been proven wrong before. I mean, a place like Colmartin built a big ol' RMC, so I guess anything is possible. So that brings up only a couple other options. I know one place that has been hotly discussed is Fun Spot. Any of the fun spots. There are 3 of them: Atlanta, Kissimmee, and Orlando. Atlanta and Orlando are very high-profile locations, and those fun spot parks make a lot of money. I don't think Atlanta would go with this because they are currently building an RMC. It doesn't make sense to me that they would build 2 big roller coasters in 1 year. And that RMC is the same reason why I'm not sure that this is going to a fun spot park. The owners of Fun Spot aren't building big roller coasters every single year at their parks. In fact, this one RMC going to Atlanta is the biggest roller coaster they've ever done. Building an Infinity at one of their parks in the same year just doesn't seem like a good idea. So while an Infinity would be an awesome fit at either of the fun spots in Florida, I just don't think it's happening simply because of that RMC that's going to Atlanta this year. So we've hit a lot of big, high-profile locations, but there are 2 areas that we haven't really covered. They're big tourist areas. A lot of stuff there is open year-round, and an Infinity coaster would fit very well at them. I'm referring to Branson, Missouri, and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And I think that this Infinity could be coming to either one of these places. I'm leaning more towards Pigeon Forge. That area is just exploding with growth in a way that Branson isn't really. But both locations have some smaller kind of family-owned areas, and many of them have go-kart attractions. Could one of these go-kart places be building? I'm looking specifically at NASCAR Speed Park in Pigeon Forge. I know some people have kind of described this place as an honorary fun spot. It's a park that if Fun Spot wanted to buy, they definitely could. But in the meantime, they just have a couple go-kart tracks. They have one small kiddie roller coaster. It's right there at the end of Sevierville as you're about to enter Pigeon Forge. Everyone has to drive past it in order to get to the area. Putting in a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster there where it's right next to the main road would be awesome, and they have a ton of land. Not saying this is a clue, but this is kind of a fun line that I thought might possibly allude to this, is Ed Hiller in the press release says this new Infinity coaster will have guests racing to it. NASCAR Speed Park is themed to cars. How about going with the racing theme for this roller coaster? That would do wonders at this location. And they could charge so much for it, they'd be printing money. And it fits with what I was talking about, that it would probably be going to a smaller, lesser-known park, but in a very popular area. They would be the reason why it would be announced at IAAPA, and the park itself would not be doing the big announcement themselves. Not saying it couldn't be a go-kart place in Branson, but I think this one location hits all of the marks that you would need in order for this ride to fit the bill of what the press release is describing. But those are just my guesses. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Where do you think this Gerstlauer Infinity coaster is going? Do you agree with any of the places I've mentioned? Do you think there are any places that I missed? Be sure to let me know, and of course make sure to stay tuned for more rumor and speculation videos here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you guys next time.